little children, I'll take thee away into a land of enchantment. Come, little children, the time's come to play here in my garden of shadows.
Hello, I'm Rinya, aka Media Adaptation, and welcome back to In Moderation. Should we actually still call ourselves Media Adaptation, because that was the name of the old channel? Or should we just go with Isekai? Something to think on. But anyway, it's time to get back to at least somewhat a normal schedule. So on Mondays, we'll talk about urban legends and creepypastas. And today, we have a little interesting one from Korea. Sadly, a ghost that doesn't even have a name. So, we'll call it Hanadrol. This is the story of 1-2. In South Korea, it is very important for students to do well in school. Parents put a lot of pressure on their children to study hard and get good grades. Students sometimes hired tutors after school, and even returned to school at night to do extra work. This eventually became a problem in Korea because some students would stay up so late that they'd fall asleep in class the next day. In recent years, students have actually been banned from studying after 10 p.m. at night. But that's not the only reason that it was banned. One night, a Korean girl named Son-hee was at school. It was quite late, and she was studying with a group of other students in her class. The lights in the library were on, but the rest of school was in darkness. After a while, Son-hee needed to go to the bathroom. So she took a break from her studies, telling her friends that she'll be back in a moment. The girl walked out of the library and down the darkened hallway into the school's bathroom. In the library, when only a few minutes had passed, the other boys and girls began to notice a faint tapping sound. It seemed to come from the direction of the window. Looking around, they saw a pale grunt woman standing there. Her face was pressed up against the glass, and her eyes were tightly shut. A long, crooked finger was tapping on the window. They wondered what this woman was doing outside at night. A moment later, the woman opened her eyes, and the students gasped in horror. She had no eyes, just deep, dark holes where eyes should have been. The woman raised her fist and brought it crashing down on the window, shattering the glass. Suddenly, all the lights went out. In the school bathroom, Son-hee was just about to wash her hands when she was plunged into darkness. Everything was silent. She never heard the screams of terrors coming from the library. There's no way she could have known the phenomenon and slaughter that has broken out only a few rooms away. She continued washing her hands in the darkness, blissfully unaware of the horrific cries that echoed down the hallway. Just as abruptly as they began, the screams and yells stopped, and the school was dead silent once again. Son-hee opened the bathroom door and strolled back down the hallway. When she went to the library, she stopped in her tracks. The dead bodies of the other students were strewn about the library. Some of the corpses were sprawled on the floor, while the others were draped across the desks and filing cabinets. She started shaking in fear. Her mind raced as she tried to understand what had happened. It was a massacre. Just then, she heard footsteps echoing down the hallway. Son-hee was a smart girl, and thinking fast, she threw herself on the floor next to the dead bodies of her friends, and laid motionless. She listened as something quietly crept into the library. Son-hee closed her eyes, and pretended to be dead. She heard rustling sounds, as something moved around the room. Fearing the worst, Son-hee laid as still as she could be, trying not to make a sound. She heard a voice whispering, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. Curiosity got the better of her, and she cautiously opened her eyes, ever so slightly to take a peek. There, in the middle of the room, stood a pale, ghastly woman in a white dress. Suddenly he closed her eyes and fought the urge to scream. She could hear the ghost creeping around the room, going body to body, muttering under its breath. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. The girl kept her eyes shut, hoping and prayed that the ghost would leave her soon. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. The ghost was shuffling one corpse to the next, getting closer and closer. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. As Sunhee listened to the chilling voice of the ghost, she tried not to do anything that will attract its attention. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. The ghost was drawing ever near, Sunhee dared not move. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. The ghost was almost by her side. The girl tried not to breathe. Suddenly, the counting stopped. Sunhee remained motionless. She strained to hear even the slightest noise. She was afraid to move a muscle. There was no sound. The library was suspiciously quiet. After several minutes of complete silence, Sunhee was sure that the ghost was gone. Sunhee slowly opened her eyes. The ghost was crouching directly over her, staring into her eyes. One pale, bony finger was pointing straight at Sunhee's terrifying face. 1, 2, the ghost said as it plucked out her eyeballs. Sadly, there isn't a complete list of Korean movies, so I don't know if this one ever got an adaptation outside of this. Heck, this ghost never even got a proper name. So for categorical sake, we'll refer to it for the Korean version of 1, 2, Hana Durul. It's as good a name as any. Much like other ghosts like Hechiseki-sama, this ghost will only target you if you lay eyes on it. So technically, if Sun passed out for the rest of the night, so Sun might have been safe. Heck, the other students probably would have also survived, if they only paid more attention to their studies. But that about does it for this video. If you have any topics for future projects, then feel free to post them down in the comments below. And while you're down there, why not like, and make sure you still subscribe to the channel. Still slowly recovering from the deletion. But anyway, I'll see you guys later. Anyway, I'm Runya. Invite you to join us again for the next night.
Weep not for children, for life is this way.